Hi, this is Deborah Atkinson, the voice for fitness and the author of Navigating Fitness After 50. So welcome to this Facebook page. This is the whole reason that I've created this video. Yesterday I posted something about don't do sit-ups, don't do crunches. Push-ups are also kind of negotiable. But here's the reason why. They're much more effective, much more efficient exercises that are not injurious. So as a personal trainer and a trainer to the trainers, over the last almost 3 decades, every time I do an exercise myself or I'm weighing what I should do with a client, I take those two things into consideration. What are the advantages of this exercise for a client, and do the disadvantages come close to that or outweigh it? And if so, that exercise is out, because there are hundreds of better ways to do almost anything. So I want to explain to you really quickly before I take it to the mat that why no sit-ups, no crunches. So imagine doing a bicep exercise. So if you were going to pick up a heavy weight, if I had a heavy weight in my hand, you'd see this even more. But when you move up, you see the belly of the bicep pop just a little bit. It's my teeny weeny little bicep. But the same thing, if you think about it, your abdominals are kind of hooked just under your rib cage and down below to your pelvis. As you forward flex there, you're going to get the same kind of pop. Now think about it. Is that what you want your abs to do? Pop out? No. Most of us say, what? We want a flat stomach. So the way we exercise is counter to what our goals are. Now, if you have very limited range of motion and you manage to relax your head and neck, not pull on it forward, there is a way to build in and to do a very limited range of motion crunch that may actually help flatten your belly. But I'm not even going to open the window for that, because somebody has to see it, probably be helping you do it to make sure you're doing it right. And there are so many other ways, dozens, if not hundreds of other ways to exercise the core more effectively with more carryover to daily living. Think about, when do you need forceful forward flexion? Almost never. What we need is extension. We need better posture. We don't need to be more like this. We need to be more like this, right? That's our complaint. Our shoulders are rounding. We're starting to look like our parents. No harm to our parents, but we want to lift up and stand up. So let's exercise the way we can do that. Last word is, I'm creating these 4 or 5 exercises for you, very similar to things that I would choose for my own workout, and rotate which 1, 2, or 3 I might do on any given day. But I'm going to give those to you under the assumption that you're taking responsibility for your own safety, that you are apparently healthy, you have no problems, or you'll consult with a physician, physical therapist, chiropractor, whoever you might be seeing first before you undertake anything new that I say here. So all exercise carries risk. The couch carries much more. So I'm not going to worry about that, but you have the responsibility for being safe. So I'll see you on the mat. Our very first exercise here, it's called a hover. Some of you may have heard of this as a plank. So on my mat, or anywhere as long as my feet don't slip is fine. Generally you want a little padding for your forearms. So I'm going to show you first a modified version. What I'm looking for here, you can see it better than I can feel it, but from the crown of my head here down to my knees right now, I want a straight line. So if I'm caving in, my lower back is taking a lot of stress right now, I'm going to lift up, almost tucking my tailbone down, but not too high. So if you see a crease at my hip, I'm not working very hard. So this would be another modification if you need it. But ideally, I'd rather have you hold it here for a short time than to be flexed and hold that for a longer period of time. You want to make sure your elbows are underneath your shoulders. Beyond that, you're going to try to hold this for 30 seconds. And if you can go the advanced version, this is where you're at. Couple of things, so it is all about the details. Want you to push back hard into your heels. So I'm actually really pushing into the floor with my forearms. What that does is recruits more of my muscles all over. Up here, I tend to get tired faster. So you can see my legs are kind of relaxed. I don't have any pushback through my heels. when I do this, everything else gets a little more firm. So think about tightening the muscles in the front of your quadriceps. Push back through your forearms. Keep your head down, just slightly forward, so you're not straining the neck and not looking underneath you. There's nothing down there very interesting. So once you've held for 30 seconds, come down. You can do repeats of 30 seconds, but 30 is great. If you want to work up to a minute, that's great. Beyond that, you probably are not going to get a whole lot more results. So more is not always better. Get more variety rather than more length of time or more repetitions on any one exercise. So moving on, really quick then, I'm going to back away so you can see me. And I've got to play with the microphone cord in order for you to hear me. I'm sitting back here. I'm going to come back to about a 45-degree angle, so approximately. So I can do this one a couple different ways. So sitting here may bother your lower back. Probably has a stronger tendency to do that than some of the things I'll do. So if that's true, throw this one out and don't do it, okay? So I can just hold my hands here, drop my elbows side to side. So this is an example of a rotation exercise. So you rotate all day long, whether you know it or not. First thing when you get out of bed, in and out of your car, probably sitting at your desk going back and forth between your desktop and your keyboard. So I can also make that more challenging. I could grab a dumbbell and hold it here, or hold a medicine ball here. I could lift my feet up and do the same thing. And I could hold a piece of paper here, or imagine a $100 bill between my knees. Makes it that much more difficult, okay? And I was struggling not to breathe hard during that, so it was challenging. I'm going to show you a side hover. So the first one we did was a hover, then we did a seated rotation exercise. This one's a side hover or a side plank. Now I can make that more easy by shortening the lever as well. So from my knees to the crown of my head, again, straight line. You don't want to be flexed forward here. You want to lengthen that out. I'm going to use my front hand for support and then come up. So here's good position. Staying all the way down here nice and straight, not letting my hip drop, but lifting it up. In fact, I'm thinking push up, push up, push up. The work is right here. You want to try to think of small animals and children crawling underneath you. So if you can create space so they can get under without touching you, you'll feel the work in the side that's close to the floor. And again, 30 seconds if you can. The most risky thing here is your shoulder. So if you have shoulder issues, again, that might be one for you to leave out, okay? If you have a shoulder issue on one side and not the other, I wouldn't do this one-sided because you're already probably strong on that healthy side anyway, so don't over-strengthen it further to get in balance. 30 seconds, and then we'll go to the other side. I want to talk just a little bit more about setup. So I'm going to show the full-length version here. Legs out straight. You can stack them or you can put them in a scissor. One foot in front of the other. Makes it a little bit easier because I've got a bigger base of support. More balance here. I don't have to balance so much here. Elbow starts in a little too close. So if you look at it, it may look like it's straight or just underneath me. What happens is when I come up, I shift a little bit. So then the shoulder and elbow are in great alignment. If I start with it out so it's comfortable, when I come up, I'm going to risk impingement on the shoulder. So check that out. Use your front hand for support just all the time. And that's just because, you know, we don't know some days. One day may feel good, some days not. Depends on whether you raked or swept or mowed the lawn or carried a baby around. A lot of things can affect how your shoulders feel. So top hand can go here. You can reach up with it. You can put it on the opposite shoulder. If you hold it out to the side, you'll find everything feels a little heavier. It's a little bit harder. So, but again, you're trying to lift up through the hip. Really work this one. And if you do yoga, this is probably a comfortable or a, not comfortable, but a familiar feeling. You're used to a side pose, possibly, where you're lifting the hips up and really working the side. So could you do this up on your hand? You can. There's a little bit more risk of injury. So if we can work the core without risk, that's our goal. I'm going to show you an exercise, and I'll stay here in this side, that is on the back. It just isn't going to be forward flexion. It's going to be stabilization. So from here to here, if I'm not moving, but I'm moving other body parts, then I'm stabilizing. I'm going to put my arms up so they're kind of in a goal post position, and that will take some strain out of my neck. So if you carry your tension, the weight of the world right here, especially by 5 o'clock in the afternoon, if you can put your hands up comfortably, your shoulders allow you to do that, do it to get them out of the way, and then you'll be less likely to strain by pushing through your hands. You can't do it when they're up here. Bring your legs up one at a time. This is a lot of work for your lower back, so one at a time is important. Hold them right here. If you can, I'm as close to a double L or a 90-degree knee, 90-degree hip as I can be. You can see better if I'm truly there or not. So lower back right now down. I want you to imagine if you had an egg underneath the small of your back, you just broke it open and it's crushed underneath you, and I want you to hold it there. Or imagine someone's got a piece of paper from the edge and they're trying to pull it out from under your back. Don't let them have it, okay? While you're thinking that and holding, I want you to take one heel at a time and tap it down. So I'm not going to let my weight come down to the floor. I'm not setting it down and relaxing, and I'm not letting this go. I'm making sure that I keep that lower back down, so it's really a lot of work right here if you're stabilizing. So if you have a partner, you have a spouse or a child or a roommate, somebody at home, have them put a hand towel underneath the small of your back, not your buns, not your upper back, and be pulling, trying to play tug of war with you while you're doing this. That will keep you honest, and you'll know that you're really doing it. If they're able to pull it, you're probably not pulling down, and this is not a great position for you yet. You're not quite strong enough. So this should be challenging, even though to you, it should look easy. And that's the idea, is that the things we do that probably have really good form, are really effective and efficient, are going to look easy to a viewer and be much more complex and difficult because they're forming deep core muscle strength that supports your lower back. If you do that foundation, then you'll start to see the development on the top, and you'll be much safer and injury proof. I'm going to stop there for today. Give me some comments, and then I will post some more items for you based on your comments.